Hello, welcome to an impromptu and unfortunate addition to the Pickles Garage videos. So I just got back from a long trip and I had my Jeep parked at a friend's house while I was gone, and unfortunately the weather has been fairly bad. And so it rained and water pooled on both sides, like about that deep, just because it was just tons and tons of rain. And where I live, I don't really get a whole lot of rain, and this is usually covered anyways. And so unfortunately I wasn't able to address the issue right away. By the time I got back from vacation, it had been sitting with water for a couple days. So right now I am drying it out, mostly with towels, but towels got soaked up pretty quick, so I'm also kind of alternating the fan. You could probably do a hair dryer too, I just don't have one handy, maybe a shop vac. But the main point of the video is I'm going to show you just a quick solve. I want to say this must happen on tons of Jeeps, so maybe you have kind of a similar issue where you're getting water leaking in. Maybe you don't notice it right away. It just kind of happens from time to time for heavy rainfall. So that's entirely possible. But, the first, main things that are really just basic, obviously, if you forgot your windows down or something, or maybe your sunroof wasn't closed all the way, that would be the first place to check. From there, you can check the door seals. Just make sure that they're all lined up, they're not aged and rotting. So that's kind of your first steps to make sure. The thing with these too is you'll notice water in different places. So if your sunroof is open, naturally the opening comes from the back first. If it's like cracked, because you know how you can overdo it and then it opens up a little bit more, and so you can vent it. So obviously from that direction you'd see a lot of water on your seats. You might see some water in the back seat, or it would be like in your cup holders or on your center console. If it's actually like opened, you're gonna see it again more in the center console. You're gonna see it in your cup holders. You might see it kind of like pooling on the seats, and you'll see kind of like stains and stuff. Or if it's like mine, where there's water in the front, either on both sides or one, it could be a few different options. In some extreme cases, there could be a bad seal on the actual windshield. And in that case, you'll probably see some water on the dash as well. Or, there might be an issue with a spot somewhere here on one of these gaskets. Sometimes you'll see water coming through like the handle itself, or, these areas and things like that. So once you've eliminated the obvious of, no, I didn't leave a window down, or I didn't leave my sunroof open, or what have you, the door wasn't ajar, those are kind of the few main spots to check first. So I'm gonna go through and probably go ahead and take these apart just to start problem solving it and seeing if maybe there's a spot here in these gaskets that is bad. Because once like one spot gets kind of bad, water can just kind of start eating away at the glue in there, and it'll just make the problem even worse. So the first tool you'll need is a very skinny, tiny screwdriver. And what that is for is to just pull out these little inserts here. You just kind of work it back and forth so you can get under it. You might be able to get it with your thumbnail or something, but in case you don't want to start chipping those away or it's giving you problems, that just slides out. And then you're gonna have your screw in there, and let me see if I can get it to focus on it. Yeah, let me try one more thing, see if I can get a good light on it. Alright, so I got to brighten up. So it is a bolt, and it is going to be, sorry, my camera's gonna have to refocus here. There we go. So it's gonna be a 7/32 socket, okay? And so I just have these kind of longer ones, so I'm just gonna use it to go ahead and knock it out here real quick. And it's it's starting to rain again. Awesome. So it's actually like finger tight, but I just wanted to kind of show you what I'm dealing with here. But let me go ahead and, I know you guys love these action scenes, but I'm just gonna go ahead and pull them out. You get the gist. Okay, so here's what the bolt looks like. It's fairly long. Same thing on the other side. Just get that screwdriver, pop it off, and then unscrew it. And that will undo this whole assembly here that I'm popping off. And then it'll look like that. So the handle itself will kind of grip this piece. So you need to just kind of take the whole thing off. It's just got these kind of studs that help pop it in. But you can see where I have some residual water pooling, and then it dries. So it leaves that kind of streakiness. So with my high-tech bucket, I ran a little test. You should get yourself one of those. But basically, I poured water on the top to see where it was coming in, and it wasn't coming in a whole lot through the actual handle itself. And I think part of that is just because it has to be an insane amount of quality for like prolonged periods. But what it was doing is, you'll see that black streak, and now it's dripping. And so it's running down this channel, dripping down, drip, 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 and then it'll bounce into the car when the door is closed. So I can keep undoing it and just seeing if I can find where the plastic piece or gasket is failing us here. There you go. So you can see water pooling on the top of this handle, which if this bolt is loose and there's a lot of it, it will start leaking out that bolt. And then it came down here, it's pooling right there, where it's dripping out here. So that tells me that the problem is going to be somewhere up here. And so I can keep, yeah, see, I can feel water in here. So that means I got a leak. See? Alright, so luckily I can kind of identify the source here. Is this going to be part of the rubber molding? Is most likely the culprit, bad seal. So there you go. I'm gonna start doing the repair, and then I'll flip to that here real quick. Okay, so we can officially identify the issue at this point. So it wasn't that the water was coming in through this channel and going down. It was that the water was coming up on top, and it would rain down here, you know, probably collect around here, maybe seep into this corner here. And so whereas this seal was still bone dry, as you can see, it's actually this portion here was just disconnected. Let me get a little elevation here. Just disconnected here, and I've been kind of pulling at it, so now it's a little bit more open than it was. But you can see kind of my finger moving on the other side. And so it would drip through this, collect on the top of this portion, not this part again, because again, bone dry, but collect on this portion, then it would go into here, which is more or less watertight, rain down into our little handle channel here, and that is more or less what was causing the issue. And again, just when it was a lot, it would eventually come through the handle. But for the most part, it would just go down, run along this channel, run along here, and then eventually leak into the carpet. So that is, you know, again, just kind of part of making sure that your seals are good. I would imagine if you're in kind of like a warmer climate, or, you know, somewhere even where it rains a lot, you're gonna have this issue. Where you will see some of the warning signs that I noticed a little bit, but it's worst was in the passenger side, and so I don't open this door very often, and so I wasn't able to see. As you can see, there's that kind of water damage, or at least water marking running down here. That would be a good indicator if you see that you might have some water leaking problems that will eventually cause some more issues. So ultimately, you saw me pull this part. I knew this part was a little loose, but it's not overly concerning just because it has like more or less 3 different layers before it even gets to where it'd be a concern here. And so like I didn't really think it was going to be part of the issue, and I still don't really think this is where it was primarily coming through, as you can see when I had my hands in here. But what I had noticed was once I started peeling this back a little bit, it was just breaking off. And so it was at first giving it a little resistance, but then it just peeled. You can see that's new stuff I haven't peeled yet, just boop, 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 popping. So clearly this was either done with the wrong glue or it was just extremely old. But my guess is there was a portion up here which doesn't even appear to really have any glue that failed first on me, and then, you know, over time it would just kind of leak through, and now all of it's bad. So moral of the story, you know, it might not look like the seals are bad, but maybe give them just a tiny little tug, and if they start popping, they should not peel as easily as you saw me peeling it at all. And so I'm just going to get some new glue. I'm going to go ahead and redo all these seals. So I'll let you know the product I have and just kind of some techniques here in a second. Okay, so here is the weather strip adhesive I got. Might be able to find different ones, different price ranges, whatever you need to do. But that's the one I'm using. The most important part about redoing this is just making sure you get all this like gunky old glue off. You want a good seal, so just need some sort of cleaner to get in there. And then I'm gonna take a rag to do the last touch up, but right now, just because a lot of it is this like kind of like congealed glue stuff, I'm gonna use this cardboard to kind of scrape it out, and then we'll go from there. Alright, so I did it on the other side already, so this side I still have to clean, but basically you just take that adhesive and do an even bead down the entire length of it. They say on the directions to let dry like slightly, not like a whole lot, but just until it gets that kind of like tacky feel. And you'll notice you don't even have to touch it because it actually will burn your skin if you do. So just kind of, you'll see it like it'll start kind of sticking to the sides a little bit, and then you just go ahead and evenly press it on. So finished with the other side. I'm gonna go ahead and do this side, but really that is it. Also, as a little bonus content, you can see how long of a problem this has been. So obviously this has been happening for a while. So another thing to kind of keep an eye out for, especially if you're in areas that are a little higher rust risk. I'm not overly concerned about this. It looks like the actual, you know, portion that's going to keep me from falling into the road while I'm driving is fine. But I'll go ahead and do a video at some point of repairing this. I'm gonna see what I could do without welding it. I might end up having to just get it welded. But I'm gonna at least kind of show you how to stop the bleeding, so to speak. But yeah, I mean, I'm not overly concerned. If you've seen my other videos, you know I bought this car just to kind of play around with it. Got it insanely cheap. I wanted something to use to show these videos for, so just another video for me to make. But yeah, definitely if you see some leaking in your vehicle and you know you don't think it's that big of a deal, you can dry it off. You know, sometimes it'll escalate, so keep an eye on that stuff for sure. But thank you for watching.